Yeah, hopefully they did, but
They're working on it. But hi, guys. Welcome back. And we just finished the top 16.
yeah.
We do have a graphic for what was in the top 16. The top 8 will be starting shortly here. If we can bring up that graphic. Thank you so much, Jebas. Uh, Obviously, Kaisa is around 50% here. But I think the most interesting part is in that top left corner. I think it's about one set, one misfortune, and two Annies making it into
Two
our top
Annies, yeah.
16.
Unfortunately, on the bubble was another two Annies, a
Wow.
Yi, and I believe another Kaisa.
That's crazy.
So unlucky, you know.
Very lucky and kind of still, I mean, minus for the misfortune and set maintains the
It's about
same average.
pretty close, yeah.
Uh, but really cool to see. I absolutely love Annie, and I think she's got a great matchup into Kaisa right now, uh, which I think is a lot of fun. It does look like we are going to be starting our top 8 here. It's at least one set player. Looks like we have 2 set players. I'm cool with it.
Yi, double Yi.
Double Yi. More of an interesting matchup for sure. It's a mirror match that
It could be, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a direct mirror either. You know, one of the things that I think has been kind of interesting with the Yi decks is that some of them are on Aurora,
yeah,
and not all of them are.
there's like a ramp Yi. There's also like an eggplant ramp Yi, which is a little bit different, and also the Aurora. And then I know the second place Chinese list at the National Open was what he called a tempo shifting Yi list, where he started game 1 as like mid range, had like Kiana, things like that, relying a lot on like eggplant and white flame, and then also still changed his deck into more of a ramp version where he was ramping up to not dazzling, but like the obelisk,
Oh, sure.
catalyst, aeons type situation.
Makes sense.
I don't. Oh, it's Annie. We just have it.
Oh, it's just not right. That
It's
makes
just not
sense.
all right. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Um,
They will get it updated for us shortly
mhm.
here.
Yeah, completely fine. It will be interesting to see what type of Yi we're gonna have here, though. I don't know if we have gotten to see the deck list at all for John Ball. Actually, I think we have.
He was on camera once, yes. So it was, I believe, one of the interesting cards that they've got in the main is...
You can see it
yes.
right there. Reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he's more of like a. Sorry about that.
No,
Like
you're
a
good.
lower Yi, but he's running Mystic Reversal in his list, which is really, really interesting.
In the main, as well as I know the Primal Strength. And one of the things with the Primal Strength versus Mystic Reversal numbers in there is that the players really need to decide what they're playing around when they're, making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can get Mystical Reversal or the +7, and they're radically different outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So they will always have to kind of play around it.
Yeah.
Especially once they've seen it, you just never know which one is going to come down.
Yeah, it's scary. And even just having a one of can then make you say, are you going to be playing more of these? Because they don't know what's in the list. It's not an open deck list tournament. So we will be checking this, seeing how this plays out. But it does look like we are going first. Wait, which one? I'm trying to figure out which one went first. I did miss that.
Yi went first.
Okay, so Yi went first, did Clockwork Keeper, and no send back, but doesn't look like they had anything on their turn 2. They took the Dreaming Tree and passed back to Annie. They do have four runes set up right now, but which could help them hold the battlefield. But it doesn't even look like Dizzee is going to be trying to take control of the Dreaming Tree this turn. Instead, he's going straight into Zon with the Traveling Merchant, and he's going to have that double discard and draw effect here. It does look like we have a stack deck to follow up, so we can try to find a card that is good with it. Oh, it does look like we had a sneaky deckhand at one point. Oh, wait, maybe that was from the discard. My bad. That's the discard. So we have the stack deck to help us find some more plans for this turn.
Zaun's really allowing a lot of card draw through the game one,
Yeah.
basically. You know, a lot of these Annie lists will, if they're running scrap heaps at all, will run them in the main deck, and then in the post-board games, they'll take them out. You know, they'll lead on Zons, they'll leverage the extra card advantage as much as they can, and then they'll sort of move into a different plan afterwards.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then late game, they have the exact cards that they need / want to do just what you're saying.
Yeah. So, Voidseeker coming down.
But we have a discipline actually that this Clockwork Keeper was already a 4 because we disciplined to draw off the Dreaming Tree after on stack with the stack deck earlier, and that'll bring this Clockwork Keeper up to a 6 out of range of the Voidseeker.
I can appreciate running out the Voidseeker. It does put us a little bit behind on runes since it was not effective. But it does run out a little bit more of the combat tricks. They're only able to get one of the draws off Dreaming Tree for those instead, which does limit the card draw some from the other side as well. Dreaming Tree, certainly one of the better draws available for Yi, especially in game one here.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like
we're charming the Traveling Merchant over. So the Merchant ability should activate first here before really anything else.
So we're actually going to flash back, which should be like a double move, kind of.
It will be a double move, and we will also, assuming that Flash worked, which it didn't, but we do get to still pick up the card from Dreaming Tree. And then we should have done the discard draw. Which I don't know if we did. Oh, it looks like they did. Kiana coming down.
I love Kiana. Kiana is such a strong orange card. I may be like a Kiana stan. It's like maybe my toxic trait in Riftbound that I'm a Kiana stan. But that deflect on a 4-cost unit with only 1 power, and then her ability where when she conquers, she draws or channels a rune is just so versatile.
Yeah, it's very, very strong. The fact that you get to pick, I think, is what's so nice about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't always need more runes. I mean, if we look here, they kind of desperately need runes that may be channeling rather than drawing. But if we're ahead enough, if we have enough cards, we just get that choice, which is great.
Yeah, it's really, really, really nice. And really just fits to whatever situation you need. Looks like it is back to Annie, and we have no runes up as John. So we don't have to play around any tricks per se from the player, but Annie doesn't have anything that's currently able to be ready and immediately go in. So they're going to need to develop their board a bit here. They do have cards like Sneaky Deckhand in the Annie deck. We saw one got discarded that can be immediately played up to a battlefield. But sometimes I worry it's a little bit too aggressive.
In this spot, it wouldn't surprise me if we see something like a Kaisa maybe. For 3, it is almost certainly going to be a Sneaky Deckhand.
Sneaky Deckhand.
Which also lets us discard draw. Because of the Zaun Warrens. Sort of a Gust. Gust, okay. Not incredible here. Generally better in the Annie deck than most as far as main deck, because there's plenty of targets of your own that are okay to work with.
Ooh, Vi is down.
Vi is in, which usually means that the hand is not stellar.
Or he's got 2 Vi's.
Or there's more than 1 Vi. Yeah, you kind of want to save one to be able to leverage, make sure that you can leverage the ability. Now, we know that Yi does not always have ways of interacting in base outside of, like, Charm. But we generally have some ability to protect against Charm.
Yeah.
Flash and Ride the Wind. We can just move it somewhere else. We can Fight or Flight.
Fight or Flight.
A couple of ways of interacting, at least, if that's the play.
Yeah, there's a couple of different options here. And even though we do end up playing Vi, because of the inability, we are up to 3 runes that John does have to play around on, like us our last turn. I originally said I thought Sneaky Deckhand's a little bit too aggressive, but because we're able to develop our base, I don't really have a big of a problem with it as long as we have something for the next turn.
Yeah.
So Kiana looks like she is going to be taking out that Sneaky Deckhands. And we're going to be able to see that discard draw, but also Kiana's ability.
and we're channeling, which makes sense given that we went down so far early with the Defies.
Yeah.
Find Your Center also helping to sort of rebuild the runes a little bit.
Yeah, to find your center is really nice. It does cost 3 at this stage of the game, or just like normally it is 3, but you get to channel a rune and draw a card.
I see we opted to discard it and pick up a
Oh, we
different card.
discarded it. I'm sorry. My bad about that.
That makes sense. I assumed it was being played because we drew a card
Mm-hmm.
immediately, but it makes more sense that it was the Zon Warren. So Charm coming in to move the Vi to battle with the Kiana. And now we're going to see what options we have, whether we want to move it to the other battlefield, whether we just want to move it back.
It looks like Ride. Is that right? Yeah, it's right. Or is
Ride
that
the Wind.
Gust?
That's Ride the Wind.
okay.
It's getting defied. So
Oof.
Vi is just taken out. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, very brutal. We saw, I think, John earlier, he is or maybe it was just a different E. I could be wrong on that. Where the Defies just do so much against these decks. Purple does have a little bit of trouble into E, but maybe it won't be as big. Hopefully, it won't be too much of a problem for Dizzee.
Yeah, Annie has some play against them, given that the size of their characters generally matters a lot less, depending upon how your list is constructed. If you're running a lot more of the targeted damage, it can be trickier. But fight or flight and things like that, flash saving your own characters, the actual battle outside of Vi, usually you can be okay.
Yeah. Only problem is E with the deflects and that Ride the Wind,
can
right?
be pretty tricky for sure. Ride the Wind obviously being one of your better cards. In this spot, if they have another deflect, it's a disaster, right? Because we overcommit with the Vi.
Yeah.
And then if we get deflected again, Ride the Wind's gone. It's rough. I would not want to remove all of the Ride the Winds if we can help it.
Yeah.
So that we can get one back with Annie later.
Yeah, Ride the Wind Vi and with Annie's ability, it's like such a nice little combo. Annie has his ability where when she comes into play, you're allowed to select a card from your discard pile to put into your hand. And so you can kind of like save some of your spells in the discard pile to play whenever you want. And then Vi obviously does have to recycle cards from the discard, but then we can have that Ride the Wind, bring it up. We did recycle a couple of cards there. It looks like it must have been 3 since 9. Never mind.
Theoretically, with Vi, they wouldn't be random, because Vi's ability is just one at a time.
Yeah.
So you would, I believe, be able to pick the order.
He picked the order. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like on the bottom?
On the bottom of the deck, yeah, because it's 1 and then 1 and then 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can actually, if you're doing it well enough and you have a good enough memory, you can keep a reasonable track of where your stuff is. Put the cards that you might want to get back to a little higher up. With the stack decks, it's reasonable to dig. So another Scrap Heap discarded.
Ooh.
I absolutely love Scrap Heap, and I think it's only going to get better as a card when it's played, discarded, or killed. So if there's a lot more gear destruction come set 2, which it's looking likely given that there's going to be so many equipments and so much more of that going around.
Okay.
Play a card like this. If it randomly gets hit with some kill, gets scooped up with Destroy All Gear, something like that, you just get to pick up extra cards. Or, in this case, with Zon Warrens or Traveling Merchant, you discard it. It lets you pick up an extra card. So it's turning that discard from a disadvantage into an advantage.
Yeah, it seems really nice for that draw, just like you're mentioning. We are going to see a Kiana come up from John against the Vi now. And that is a 4 versus a 3.
I would expect
believe, right?
Flash if we have it, or a Fight or Flight's fine. You move the Vi back, and you can actually just pick up an extra card, save it, just put it back in base. I'm surprised that we didn't. I suppose because we're so low on runes, we wouldn't necessarily have wanted or needed to actually hide it here. Getting to untap 2 with Annie, very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. That tap 2 is essentially reads as like a +2 on your own turn, it feels like.
That's really nice.
So he does have 6 runes here. There's a lot you can do with that, and he's just quickly glancing through his discard pile. I think he has 5 or 6 cards there that he could use this turn, but already having sent so many back last turn, it seems a little difficult.
It's hard, yeah. You really don't want to keep recycling because with Vi, especially because you can kind of pull a Ride the Wind out whenever you want with the Annie out of the champion unit. If you can try to use the Vi combo as like a closer to go from 6 to 8 to conquer both battlefields, sort of like we did last turn with the ganking, it's really nice if you can. But that only works if you have enough in the trash to actually recycle. This is a really tough spot. Our hand is like all flash. So we want to get in and actually try and get some equity here, but it's scary from the other side. Like, we know they can't do reversal because there's only 2 green.
Yeah, you need 3, right?
You need 3, but there's still, +7. There's still plenty of other smaller buffs in there. And you don't want them to be able to get cards for free either.
Yeah, very true.
And if you don't commit enough with Vi, you're having to waste other spells just to save your own character. That's pretty brutal too.
Very.
I like this actually. Sneaky Deckhand.
Yeah, I like the play with Vi safe in the base here. So we do see another scrap heap getting discarded with Zon's, your favorite.
Even better.
And that's going to be another draw, and also just another card in the discard pile for this Vi when it's time to maybe ride the wind, maybe just move up naturally. Who knows? But Void Gate. Oh my god, I just had a brain fart.
It's Void Seeker.
Void Seeker does come down, and that is going to try to knock out this Kiana, but a responding discipline that draws 2 will make this Kiana not just a 6, but an 8. Well, 6, and it when defending an 8. There we go. Sorry.
Yes. But it does have some damage on it now, which is of consideration. If we don't care as much about this Vi, there's a world where we can try and just send it in. If they have another spell, that can be kind of tricky. Thinking about what we're doing with the Annie in the future, if we want to just fully buff Vi, keep just the Ride the Wind in there for later, and then try and take it out, I don't hate it. It may be problematic into like a +7. Because we may be overcommitting and then still not be enough.
Yeah, I could see that. We do have, what is this? 4 runes that we still have access to. So, I mean, that could be so much. Yeah, exactly. It could be Primal Strength +7, and
So
that
like
would put us to a
15?
15. Yeah.
We would need an 11 just to trade.
I'm not sure we have 11. But yeah, just to trade, we would need 11
We
here
have
from the
8,
buy.
so it would be 11.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't need to shuffle it. We figured it out.
3,
Puts
4,
the
5,
scrap
6.
heaps up towards the top, I believe.
Yep, it is towards the top, but that officially means, I guess we left 1 Ride the Wind. Okay.
Yes. For Annie specifically. Okay, so they do have it, so we trade.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a trade, but that is...
Should be a trade. Yes. Okay, so it's a
Uh.
trade. Not awesome, but I think it's worth keeping the Ride the Wind in there because it's too much of a disaster if we don't have it.
Yeah.
Especially given that we know that there's one sort of in the middle of the deck because we recycled it earlier. And the Vi is a lot less impactful now that, the trash has been eaten twice.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't mind getting a couple out of the way here. We can...
Oh.
If we have Fight or Flight, I don't hate just pushing the Yi back.
Yeah, I don't have too much wrong with that. But
We could also flash. I believe that we have a flash in hand. We can save our Sneaky Deckhand with that.
that could be nice just to maintain a base as well and could go into potentially the Dreaming Tree the following turn.
It's tricky because they go up to 6 if we do nothing here. We're going to have to save the Sneaky Deckhand somehow.
Yeah.
Nope,
And
apparently not.
Okay,
Okay,
to
fair
the
enough.
discard it goes, and we're going up to 6 points now. We do still have 1 rune going into our next turn. So that could still be an on guard for this Yi to protect himself. It could be a Defy. Yeah, there's a number of options here.
In hand, do we have a Darius? We do.
Nice. So Darius, just enough also to play a Hex or Cleave?
I believe he drew a Cleave this turn. So Darius
Okay.
Cleave should
10.
do just fine.
10 into 8, but he's risking that on guard. He should be a 10 versus, yep, now Yi's a 10 as well.
Yeah.
And both are going to get killed and sent to the discard pile.
Yeah, so the +2 coming in from the leader really making it tough here.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to see. I'm trying to think of what other interwin readies that Yi has, because obviously, I guess sometimes they play Confront.
Tasty Fey Folk.
Tasty Faithful can accelerate. That's true. And then Deadbloom always seems like he's an interwin ready, but it's only if somebody's in one of the battlefields, and that is not the case.
Okay, find your center for 1.
Yep.
Quite good.
Because we're at 5 points. So if those who don't know, Find Your Center is a 3, but when you play Find Your Center and your opponent is within 3 points of winning, which is 5 unless there's an Aspirant's Climb, then it costs 1. And we are going to accelerate that Tasty Faithful, just like you said, up into Zons.
So if we have... Okay, Stack Deck is fine. We can play that. It is an action, interestingly.
I mean, nice to dig a little bit deeper, but we only have 1 rune left now.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to answer this turn at all. Like, there just isn't... For 1, we don't really have an out to that.
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure out what the play is for next turn. I wish we had a little bit more runes developed. So we're only going to be able to go up to 7.
Yeah.
Which does limit us a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't feel great. We stack deck, and it kind of looks like we're not getting that last rune. Yep. We go on and finish off the Zons here, discarding a Pit Rookie and drawing a card. And no runes left up.
Okay, we'll see what we picked up here. We definitely need a unit right now. We do have... It looks like a stack deck that we could lead it off if we're truly desperate. We also have the Annie.
Mm-hmm. She has a 4.
It's usable, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, and what would she even grab really here that would help her when she's at a 7? We are going to play Kaisa. It looks like accelerated and sending back that 1 Chaos Fury rune.
1 Fury. We do have a Cleave in hand.
Okay. She draws off her ability. Will she cleave just for the draw is a question I have.
We might Ride the Wind.
Ah.
Oh, no. So it is...
Ride the Wind. For the draw still. Like,
no,
to push Tasty Goal.
Yeah, this is Fight or Flight, just to push it back so that they don't gain the hold point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in a position where Vi could theoretically close out the game if they don't have the ability to take both this turn. So we could Vi Ride the Wind, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I can see that.
Assuming that we have enough to be able to do that. But this is probably a Deadbloom, which is a disaster.
Deadbloom is up. What do they have for it? It's an 8. Kaisa's flashing back to the base. There'll be a draw, and Tasty Faithful into the other battlefield will seal the game for John in his game 1.
Yeah, I think had we actually flashed... No, we never had any priority to. I don't think there was... Okay, we could have. There was an opportunity where we could have flashed, actually, on our turn. We wouldn't have been able to draw the extra card, but we would have made it so that Deadbloom was not an out. If when we did the Fight or Flight, we just react to the Fight or Flight on the stack, we could have flashed. Which would have actually drawn us an extra card.
Yeah, it still draws you a card.
Yeah, because we hadn't actually targeted it with anything. So I think, assuming that we had enough for that, we may not have had enough that turn. We may have had to wait until the 2 untapped.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was.
It's probably what it was. Yeah, we didn't have the runes. Yeah, so we only got them from the untap, which we just didn't have enough juice in the tank. So that's okay.
Yep, that is going to be a problem, and we'll have to see what they decide to do going into game 2. John seemed really strong, but it does look like he's already siding out 4 cards. I'm not sure where they are. 5, potentially.
Since Zon's is already
6?
gone, Scrap Heap is pretty common to
7?
side out. It's possible that John put everything in and then took cards out randomly, just so you don't have an idea of how many cards you're siding in. Hard to know if we're playing that kind of a mind game. Seems like he has a plan for Annie here at the very least.
Mm-hmm. It does seem so.
Annie likely siding out Scrap Heaps, probably bringing in some things that are a little bit better against larger characters, depending upon the list. Could be some unsummons. It could be some... It's hard to say.
We'll have to see here. What type of... I mean, a lot of times we're seeing Obelisk game going second game for Yi, but I don't know if that's what we're going to see here this game. Rebuke.
Could be Rebuke. Rebuke is definitely very good against just like, tasty Fey folk and things that are just bigger.
Yeah.
And they don't really... It's like you commit your whole turn to playing one thing, and then you just bounce it, and then you get it back with Annie, and you do it again. It functions as like a really inexpensive time walk a little bit.
Okay.
Because it can set some of these decks playing just a single bigger unit. They dead bloom for 8, and then you just like put it back in their hand. Then what?
That's true.
Like that's their whole round, and if they can't actually gust it either, not gust, defy. Because Rebuke is double. It's a 2 cost for 2 power.
Yeah, the 2 power is insane. But yeah, it does save it from the Defy.
It will be interesting to see what the Yi chooses on the draw here for their battlefield. I would assume that this is going to be Arena's Greatest for Annie.
Mm-hmm. That would be, Arena's Greatest and Obelisk. The 2 that we mentioned, Arena's Greatest is going to make them start at 1 point earlier. So just to note, it's not 1 point less you have to achieve, it's 1 point earlier. So that affects things like that Find Your Center. It's not like he needs 4 points to use it for 1. He's going to need to have 5. And then... Yeah, Obelisk is going to start both players with 1 extra rune.
It's going to be a fast one.
Yeah, it's going to be a fast one, especially since they're going to start with bigger rune pools.
I would assume that Annie will do very well. Obelisk of Power actually not very good against Annie.
Mm-hmm.
They can sneaky deckhand turn 1.
Yeah, true.
Which that's a big deal. That means they're going to very easily be both gaining the point that turn and also getting the hold point. There's just not anything that's that quick.
Okay.
Out of Yi to be able to stop it.
Yeah, very true.
But the ramp does come down sooner. Dead Bloom can come down pretty quickly thereafter if you Obelisk on 1 into, or a Catalyst on 1 into just Dead Bloom on 3. That can be pretty rough too.
That makes sense. Yeah, we'll have to see what ends up happening here, because almost I wonder, like, if we hit that Dead Bloom, was it turn 2?
It might even be turn 2.
It could be turn 2 here.
It could be turn 2 if they fully decide to commit into it with the Catalyst directly into that. That can be.
But even then, like, it does feel a little bit too late, just like you were mentioning.
But they've already gained a bunch of points. Like, if it's 2 sneaky deckhands, they're going to be at 4, and you can sup 1. They're going to be at 5 before you do anything, basically.
Yi just seems to move way too slow on this, so we'll have to see.
On the draw, especially, with the Obelisk of Power, I mean, it is the way that you can try and combat really aggressive starts with the Dead Bloom, but it definitely is not ideal. They can use their Yi, which is still in the deck, I believe.
Oh, wait. They haven't put the Yi out yet. They do have to put the Yi out.
They must be calling a judge because they presented with the Yi in the deck. Likely the solution is just to, since they haven't drawn their hands, just to go fetch the Yi out and then go again.
Yeah.
Luckily, they haven't drawn their hands yet.
Yeah, it's nice that they noticed it now before too late. Hopefully too late.
Yeah, it's really tricky because it is technically part of your 40 cards. But I believe that the solution, because it is just a randomized pile, the judge will go fetch it out. They'll shuffle a little bit, and then should be good to go.
Cool, yeah, and yep, there's that Yi. They did pull it out, and we are seeing the judge shuffle in the back. And then hopefully,
I believe it's because you had already presented your deck, so you don't really have the opportunity to go back in and do too much to it. They just want to make sure that it's good, good and
okay,
randomized,
makes sense.
easy enough fix.
Yeah, I think that's a quick fix, and we'll be getting into game 2 here. Yi is up a game, and Annie needs to take game 2 and 3 if they want to make it to top 4.
I would think that game 2 should be pretty favored. The
Mhm.
on the play game with Arena's Greatest is a lot easier for Annie than a lot of decks.
Mhm.
Sneaky Deckhand playing a big role there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Especially with some of these little bit slower decks that rely on ramping out extra runes. If you have just 2-drop into the Sneaky Deckhand, or in this case, because of the Obelisk, you can run it out even turn 1. You can be on the board at 5 before they do anything.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, like, if you're actually, even though you're on an Obelisk, which obviously the normal game plan would be that Catalyst into Dead Bloom with Zonia's in an absolutely perfect world. But it doesn't even look like we're going to hit Sneaky Deckhands. So even though we've been doom and glooming over it, I think we're safe. And we're able, it's so nice that you get to untap those 2 runes, I feel like.
It is.
No matter what, like, you just get to use your entire rune pool every single turn, and Annie's just like, here's 2 more.
Yeah. Stack deck, very good, especially this early, because it lets you, if you don't have, a real reasonable play the following turn. We also have the Traveling Merchant, which is probably the best 2-drop in the deck, allowing you to really craft your hand. If you still have the scrap heaps in, you can draw 2 cards with it. And even if not, there's not always cards that are great. Does have the Catalyst on 2.
Catalyst on 2, and with that, we're able to channel 2 runes Exhausted and draw a card. Oh, no, it's just Drew. I don't know why I read that.
It doesn't get to draw a card
You don't
every
get to draw
time.
a card. Not every time. But you do get to draw 2 runes Exhausted. And we are at 6, which means at the start of next turn, we're going to be at 8.
Yeah, Kaisa, a good play in this particular turn. Given that we have 5, we can accelerate it. We can get into both locations. I would imagine doing Kaisa first, so that you can draw a card and then do the discard draw.
That makes a lot of sense. And we are going to bring Kaisa up and get that draw off of her ability. That ability is really nice just to have some consistency and keep drawing cards. And then obviously we do discard and draw another, which is going to be helpful to fill up that discard pile and make it where we can, boost Vi up multiple times. We'll have to see in this matchup really what is the better I name, Vi or Yi, even though they sound very different.
It is helpful to being able to get rid of, obviously we want a 2-drop on turn 1 every game, especially with an aggro deck like this.
Yeah.
But you don't need infinite Poros, right? You don't need infinite 2s. Once you've already gotten past that stage, it's fine to get rid of them. I would expect some sort of interaction spell here. It is probably going to get defied, unfortunately, unless it's Rebuke, which we can't cast. So assuming that they have Defy, it's going to be unfortunate here. We're just going to try and push it back. I don't hate pushing the Kaisa back either, but I think I feel safer putting the Yi back in base.
Yeah, it is nice to get pushed back to base, I guess, for Dizzee's side. I feel like this is why a lot of times we're seeing Yeez run that Vile Maw reason, or one of the many reasons, because obviously there's other reasons as well, but for multiple matchups, it's nice for for people against Annie who otherwise might be, wow, my God, words. It's nice as the opponent to Annie to have Vile Maw because they try to push you back because that's how they would say, like, get the battlefield for themselves, but then they can't because of the Vile Maw. There you go. Words.
It looks like John maybe missed the Arena's Greatest trigger, which is unfortunate. I don't know that it's really going to be that relevant here, given that Annie is already in a very good position to be able to close out in a few turns, potentially, already at 5.
Yeah.
I would expect to see the Kaisa also probably get pulled back to base here.
Let's see. Yep,
Yep.
we're going to see that retreat. Just like you mentioned, it does stop things like Dead Bloom from being able to be played
Mm-hmm.
directly to the battlefield. But we do still have some options like Tasty Faithful, like we mentioned before. Yeah.
One thing that I really like about Annie being able to ready the 2 runes is you can do things like Ride the Wind on your opponent's turn, because you basically always have those runes available,
Mm-hmm.
and gain points on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, I think that is so cool. When it happens to me, I think it shouldn't be a game mechanic, but when I'm watching it as a caster, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it can feel really unfair, you know. There are not a ton of 1-cost cards.
Sabotage. So
Okay,
Ride
so we
the
did have to Ride the
Wind,
Wind.
Flash, and Stack Deck. And interestingly, Sabotage, really nice for Yi because it recycles the card, not discards it, which means Annie will not have access to it unless
Yeah.
there's a second copy in the
A
discard
little
pile.
brutal, actually, because we really would have, honestly, this turn would have been great to be able to run out the Ride the Wind once the Yi goes into a battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an action, so you do have to wait until you have priority in a showdown, which, there is a non-combat showdown when they go into a battlefield, so you would have had an opportunity to Ride the Wind. You just go to the other battlefield and take it with your Kaisa, draw a card, and then if they don't have an answer to that other battlefield, you just get another hold point. We'd be all the way up to 7, and we only have to deal with the one location. So
Yeah, that'd be crazy. And all you have to take is the other side.
I wonder what we're thinking about here, given that this is recycle. Like, it should be pretty straightforward. Like, Ride the Wind is certainly the best card. I mean, we are going to get to play the stack deck this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe considering whether or not he actually even goes into a location at all to give that priority.
Okay, Yi is up to the arena's greatest, like you mentioned, and presumably they don't have the ride the. Well, actually, they haven't made a do stack deck, so yeah. So they don't have Ride the Wind now to do the exact play you're mentioning. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
So did we not stack deck? Interesting.
They didn't stack deck in response. We are going to be Tasty Faithful King. I'm trying to see if there's an Accelerate coming down. It doesn't look like it, and so we're going to leave 1 rune up when we pass back to Dizzee. I wonder if that is a save for something like On Guard again.
It could be. I don't actually think that you need to take both points this turn. I'm not sure that it matters that much.
Mm-hmm.
Just even putting the Traveling or the Kaisa into the Obelisk here is probably fine. You can flash it back and save it, and then you just wait until the following turn.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
We'll see what we draw with the Kaisa to see if it makes sense to try and get it. I mean, if we just have Fight or Flight, which I know that we have from the Annie, we can just push their Yi back to base, and then the game's just over. Next turn, of course.
Yeah, of course. And we do have we got the draw off of the, maybe we chained it. I can't really tell. But we are gonna be able to stack deck. Look at the top 3 of our deck, and from that, pick 1 to put into our hand. Really cheap way to basically draw a card. And we're gonna spend another to do a cleave onto Darius. That's the second card this turn, so he is a 10 now, going into this 8E. Do we have On Guard? And that 1 rune being used to generate energy is going to be bringing that On Guard out, and he's currently a 10 now.
I mean, that's fine. They trade. Darius being 7 plus 3. I think we're okay with that.
Oh, we're going to flash back, potentially. Oh, both to the base, and you will survive now.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't. I guess, again, we don't really need to, because we have. I think we picked up at least 1 Ride the Wind, maybe even 2. It did make them commit another card to just protecting the Yi.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think because we have the Ride the Wind that I wouldn't have hated just trading there, move the Traveling into the location. I guess this plays around the Dead Bloom from last game a little bit.
Yeah, it does do with that, and TC Faithful up. We're going to be charming someone forward. My guess is Darius, but we'll have to see. Yep, Darius is up 5 versus an 8 here. He does have 5 runes up. I mean, we could see Fight or Flight. We could see, a Rebuke is going to come down, forcing two power costs, and that's 2 purples, the only 2 purples we had, to the bottom of our rune deck.
However, this means that we actually go to 7.
True.
Because we have conquered that battlefield.
Wait, does that mean we go to 8 next turn if we don't get it back? Oh, okay. Well, now we have to get it back. Let's put it that way.
We can't actually ride the wind here because unfortunately we're out of
Purples.
purple. We have no chaos runes. So I believe that we just let that go. But this does mean that we are able to, depending upon what we draw, we have Ride the Wind. Is that Gust, maybe?
Imagine you lose the fight to Darius and then you have to pass and he just wins off that. That would have been so tragic. Luckily, we did have that Dead Bloom, though, but let's see what they have.
We know that there's a Tasty Fey Folk in hand, so we have to be a little bit careful where we're, or what we're doing this turn.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if there's a Defy or not in this spot. If we had a Vi, I think we would just play it since we have a Ride the Wind in hand, but I don't think that we do. I think we're debating on Annie and what we would want to do with that.
Now, there's 9 cards in our discard pile. Is there Ride the Wind in the discard pile? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Annie can only get back spells, specifically. She's able to get 1 spell from the trash.
Yeah, it's really nice. I was just thinking if we had to Ride the Wind in the discard pile, then we'd be able to pull it back out.
We can't get Rebuke because it's double...
And double purple. And we just had to pay 1 purple, then, I think?
Yes.
Or she red?
Annie is purple, yeah. I would honestly get Fight or Flight potentially here if we're looking to just take one of these locations. Does just grab the Rebuke.
Interesting.
I guess looking to set up for the following turn.
I could see that, yeah. We have some time. John is only at 3 points, so Dizzee definitely has to finish the game at some point. He does have a couple turns to do so.
Rebuke is good here if we can cast it, but 1 Rebuke is not necessarily enough given that we can't really double cast it either. But we'll see. It may be enough if we can get enough purple runes. The problem is that Ride the Wind really doesn't work with Rebuke unless we get double purple again, which we may. I don't know what the breakdown on runes is in Dizzee's deck.
Right now we have 5 reds. I feel like... I know they normally run a 7-5, but I...
Could be 7-5, could be 6-6. It depends on how much we know. You know, we're recycling an awful lot of purple if we know that there's Rebukes in the board. It could be that we are aware of our restrictions and are playing 7-5 on the on Chaos, so then we just have a little bit more of them. Vi would be pretty clean. Still pretty hard to punch through that, but basically saying, I don't have any tricks. This is as big as I can make my board. What do you got?
Yeah, he's about to make him do it, but it looks like we're going to load all to one side now. Yi, Dead Bloom Predator, Tasty Fey Folk.
This is recognizing how good Vi is. So
yeah.
Can only really do 1 of our spells. We could send Kais in there to draw another card first.
Kais, oh yeah, you can put it into Arena's Greatest. You're correct on that. I was like,
we draw 2 cards actually. Because we're at 7 points already.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
So how much have we got in there? We have 8.
8, 6, 6, and 2 plus 1. So 12, 14, 8, 16, 17, I think.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We can bounce 1. We can bounce an 8 back to hand. With the Rebuke. So then we have 13, 16.
8 back. Then we would have...
Because So Yi is 7.
15? Yeah, 15. Because 662 would be what we would have then, +1.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, he's only a 2. The pit rookie in the back.
Yeah. Pit Rookie's really nice. It's a very clean 2, and it does allow you to buff another friendly unit, which was the Yi in this case. Not always the 2-drop or 2 cost that you want on turn 1, because if there's another unit, then you're not able to put the buff on something. But it is really nice after that first turn.
Mm-hmm.
And push come to shove, it is still a unit to put down.
It is hard to just take and hold the other side because we've got the Yi that has ganking, and if there's a dead bloom, it makes it a little awkward.
Yeah, and right now we're only a 7, which does mean the Yi just ganks over as a 7 as well.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine feeling good about the only thing he needs is a charm or 1 trick when you're down a game in top 8. When you're up a game, you can, play around in your game too, but when you're down 1, it is not so the case. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think he has a Darius in hand.
Yeah, there's gotta be a Darius. That's 5. Yeah, that's Darius. Recycle 1.
Okay. So that's 7.
We got
Darius should be untapped here.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. They're doing stuff. Yep, and that is enough. So it's the 3 from Annie, the 7 from Darius is 10. Plus Kaisa is 14.
Yeah.
And they only had 13 because we were able to bounce the
Pit rookie.
the 2
Yep.
from the pit rookie.
So we are going to be going to a game 3 then.
I would assume that he verbally called it the Darius.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
But I'm not sure. They're talking to the judge right now.
Oh. Wait, what's going on?
They're talking to the head judge, it looks like.
Okay.
Not sure what about. Maybe he's just asking a question on how one of his cards would have interacted in a particular spot.
Who knows? Maybe they also didn't get. I mean, I don't know. Actually.
He has to go to the bathroom. Bathroom break. That makes sense.
Makes sense. So I guess we're going to a game 3 here. What do you want to see from the Yi to have to finish off the Annie in game 3?
So the battlefield matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect the Mystic Reversal to be still in the deck.
Okay.
And be pretty important. I mean, imagine Ride the Wind getting taken.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you are the one riding the wind. And that can be a huge disaster. Especially if they're relying on the Vi combo somewhere later. That could be pretty tough. Really, the best way for you to win this is just draw more of the Defies.
Mm-hmm.
Defy is a very good card against Annie.
Okay.
Obviously, Rebuke plays around it a little bit. There's a few cards that Annie plays that are sort of the double power that are out of the range of Defy, but they're definitely playing some number of Wind Walls.
Yeah.
We know that they're playing a Mystical Reversal. The counter spells in this matchup end up being very impactful because Annie doesn't always do sort of double spell, especially on their opponent's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just untapping 2. Most
Yeah,
of the things that you're trying to do cost 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Flash costs 2. Fight or Flight costs 2. Ride the Wind. Basically, everything costs 2 that you really want to be doing on your opponent's turn to sort of get that extra value. And if they're able to counter it while still doing the game plan, then it's kind of rough.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that's gonna come into play this next game. I'm trying to remember exactly which of the spells were in John's list, like between Wind Wall and the Defies. But Mystical, it'll be interesting to see what they do because obviously they're going to swap out the Catalyst of Aeons and cards like that. Since we won't be doing Obelisk this turn.
Right, right.
Um, it'll be interesting to see what we see instead this turn. Hopefully, we'll get to see Kiana again, and some of these like smaller cards that'll help us defend off that more aggro play that this Annie is going to be doing into our game 3 here.
Yeah, being on the play matters a lot in this particular spot here, and how you have to approach the game.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the beatdown, who's the control. Realistically, Annie's always going to have to be the beatdown just because their units are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Do you care as much about your individual removal in this particular matchup? Not always. Some of the battlefield removal isn't at its best. Some of the smaller units aren't at their best, and you might need ones that are a little bit bigger. So they as long as they have a plan and you can work towards executing it, that's really the best that you can hope for on the draw. You do get the 3 runes. So again, Sneaky Deckhand from Annie is like your best play. That's the best thing that you can be doing right away. Because there just isn't a ton that Yi's going to be able to do to really stop that.
Yeah.
Especially because you're untapping too. If they develop a 2 on their turn 1, which is not that uncommon, a Poro or something, Pit Rookie, just raw and try to challenge in, you may just have Fight or Flight, and then now they get an extra point, or they may have Flash that they're willing to use, and then they just take the point on the other one. So you can claw a few extra free points with Annie really early in some of these decks that, like Kai'Sa has answers. Kai'Sa can do Hextech Ray. Kai'Sa can do a little bit of targeted removal earlier on, where the Yi decks don't necessarily have those cards.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Versus like, do we have a bit more larger characters on Yi's side? You're going to want to actually deal in with fighting and getting things in like that.
It's like the only. I think challenge is like the only thing that you can do super early. But I don't
you
even
could
know.
charm.
You could charm. You could charm as well if you have something that's sizable enough. But definitely not if all you have is your small unit. You can do charm plus just like a buff. And instead of committing something, you just like say, okay, I'm just gonna deal with the board a little bit, set myself back a little bit on development, but then keep them from just steamrolling the game.
Yeah, that's true. Both players do have their legend this time, and it does look like John has saved this Vile Maw for game 3, which means Annie's going to have a bit of trouble with those, the Flash, the Ride the Wind.
What's nice
not
is
Ride the Wind,
Ride the Wind doesn't care.
Yeah, it's Fight or Flight that I'm thinking of.
It is hard to battle in Vile Maw's lair, but because he saved Dreaming Tree for last, you can really just kind of ignore Vile Maw's lair a little bit.
Okay.
At least as far as something to battle over.
Okay.
Sometimes you put the Sneaky Deckhand in there and you just don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
You collect your point and move on, which had been happening in the last couple games anyway. They are stuck there, but if you're just getting your point while it's open and then they, conquer back, whatever.
Yeah.
You probably weren't going to save just a 2-might character anyway, most of the time. Sometimes if you have Flash, you're okay, if you save a couple, but because Dreaming Tree is so powerful in this deck specifically, like Flash drawing an extra card, Fight or Flighting your own character drawing an extra card, Ride the Wind drawing an extra card, Vi doesn't care about Vile Maw's lair.
Yeah, for sure.
The Ride the Wind combo just does not care. You move it in and you gank over to the other one, just boom, done.
Yeah, or if you move a character up to Vile Maw, you're allowed to Ride the Wind across to the Dreaming Tree. It's just the more so those like defensive or pushing guys out of Vile Maw is not going to be possible.
It is very good against Annie for sure. Basically it's good against chaos, right?
Yeah.
It makes it so that is just shut down entirely. It is a safe place for John to also collect points, which does help too.
Okay.
Because, most of the ways that Annie deals with things are Fight or Flighting and saving their own characters. Well, you're just going to be very favored in that particular spot. You know, if you put your Yi over there, he's not just going to get pushed out. Dead Bloom even better into something like that because it's just going to be good basically all the time.
Yeah,
Rebuke notably still doesn't carry. You just can send it back to their hand.
very true, very true. And yep, we are into our game 1 now, immediately into that Stalwart Poro. And that Stalwart Poro is basically a mini boss once he finds himself onto one of these battlefields. He'll be a 5 by himself.
5, yeah. A good start from both players. I certainly wouldn't have hated the deckhand if we had it, but this is a good second.
Mm-hmm. And Poro is up into the Dreaming Tree here. And quickly check that we do get that point, and we look like we're thinking if we want to use an action or not. We do get our point, looks like, and it's going to resolve.
A bit unfortunate, because you really don't want to be battling for Vialma's Lair if you can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that we would have wanted to ride the wind in that spot. We did not have any Chaos Runes there.
Oh, true. I always forget that purple is chaos.
We could collect our discard draw and go into Vialma's Lair, and then just say that this Traveling Merchant is just never moving again. It doesn't feel awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to battle against this Poro. 6 is a ton.
Yeah, this is a rough spot to try to battle into. Looks like we are going to be spending 1 for a gust.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Bye. They can just buff it.
It looks like we're going to on guard up to a 5. So Gust, I believe, is for a 3 or below.
Gust is specifically 3 or below.
Yes.
At a battlefield, notably.
Yeah, exactly. At a battlefield. So with that on guard, it is a 5 no matter what for the rest of Dizzee's turn. And now he has to deal with it because it did not go back to the owner's hand. That's for sure. Merchant is going to go to Vialma. We've conceded that fact, and we're going to have that discarded draw. Looks like we discarded a Flash.
Flash not at its best against Vialma here, especially when your only unit is over there. Just passing would be not great.
Yeah. And he seems to think that as well. We're thinking things through for a second here. We don't really want to pass with only 1 rune used. We don't even get our full +2 from Annie that way.
Yeah, you could use your champion unit and get the Gust back, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would want to do it this early, but it is a possibility.
We'll see what they're thinking about. I would imagine that this single purple is something that they don't really want to give up yet.
Yeah.
We do have Ride the Wind, which can't actually save the Traveling Merchant unless you ride the wind over to Dreaming Tree and then also flash it or something.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. It's a lot to do. That's a lot to spend.
It is.
And we are actually going to just pass back to John, who is going to bring up that Pit Rookie 2 versus 2 right now. Presumably, I mean, maybe he's willing to take the trade because it'll wipe out Dizzee's board, but presumably John does have a trick. But no, we're just going to go on and let that happen for, yep,
Kiana.
There's Kiana. Pretty nice, though, regardless, since Dizzee now just has no board currently created.
Is that Kiana pass? I think so.
Kiana pass with 2 up.
So I don't mind this if we have something like a Darius, one of the 5s that we're looking to try and get in with. It makes it pretty hard to battle against the Poro here, given that they can very easily have a lot of counter spells up in this spot.
Mm-hmm. I think we have 2 fighter flights. A Cleave?
Could be Cleave.
I don't know the other 2 cards off the top of my head. So if he does it one more time, we'll try one more time. I just keep missing the first card.
There is a Cleave. I think there's a Kaisa. So we have Kaisa Cleave in hand, I believe, which we can do. We can't Kaisa Fighter Flight. We could lead on Fighter Flight to push the Poro back. I mean, the problem is that this Poro is like a disaster here. It's exactly what you want from Yi, given that it's so large for so inexpensive. We just dedicated no resources to this huge monster. I mean, this is the same issue that we were sort of running into with Set as well, where, you know, for such an early game unit, the set champion is it's so big.
Yeah, it's gigantic. Let's see here. Ooh. Yeah, I can't really see. Set was absolutely gigantic. Even talking about it earlier, he reads as a 5, but in actuality is often a 7.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out what he has exactly in his hand. I swear at one point I thought he had. Oh wait, that doesn't even make sense. Merfolk is blue, isn't it?
Let's see what they actually play. Yeah, I think so,
No.
though.
Let's see what he does.
Debating the lines, but doesn't seem to be thrilled with any of them.
Yeah, he really doesn't seem to be thrilled with any of them. Maybe he has literally 3 Ride the Winds in his hand.
And it might be 3 fighter flights.
Oh, that's what I mean when I say Ride of the Wind. I was meaning fighter flights.
That is is that an Alt-Art Kaisa? Okay, I like
fighter
this.
flight, back the Poro.
Yeah, if we do have Kaisa, I think the play is to fighter flight here, and then if it goes through, then we'll Kaisa. It looks like there's at least 1 counter in hand and a charm.
It looks like we have a Defy, a Discipline.
I think it's charm
and then
Primal Strength.
No, it's got the arrows.
Oh.
Unyielding Spirit.
Unyielding. I'm not sure Unyielding is really that good in this matchup. Okay.
Okay, so Darius is up. It was the second card being played.
Okay, mind this. You're right, it is Unyielding. I don't love Unyielding in this matchup as much. It's okay. There are not as many damage spells in these lists as there are in Kaisa.
Yeah, not as many. There were some spell heavy Annies in the tournament earlier, though.
That's true, and you kind of have to respect the idea that it exists, and some of them are siding in more than just Void Seeker.
Yeah.
Occasionally they have Falling Stars as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have seen them with both. It looks like we are going to be putting up our Stalwart into Vilemaw. Yeah, Void Seeker feels really strong in Annie for sure. And sometimes you do have to go with those Falling Stars. But we are going to go on, get that Dreaming Tree double draw. And Kiana is going to be a 6 here into that 5 of Darius. With 2 mana up, I don't think we're going to be able to hit the +2 of 2 cards, but it is a possibility.
We can try to save Darius here. If we have like a flash, we do have the fighter flights. I would not hate trying to fighter flight the Darius. It is going to get countered in this spot, but I don't know why we move him here if that's not the line. I guess.
Yeah.
I would have honestly liked to have seen us maybe hide one of them.
Yeah.
Because then that does let us play around 1 counter.
That makes sense. And like play it.
Or we still lose to 2, but that would let us play around 1. And we can also trigger Darius's ability then. Because we can cast 2 spells in the same turn.
Yeah, and then he'll be a 7
And
going into that 6.
7, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. But we did not see that happen, and Kiana does take the battlefield. We're up to 4 points now, and Kiana gets a buff from Pit Rookie before we end our turn with 2 runes up still, which means Dizzee's got to play around a couple of these cards.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster here. It's going to be very hard to move this Poro off that Vilemaw at all.
Disaster?
Disaster, exactly.
Yeah, we're going to need to... I think I do see Ride the Wind now. Cleave.
If we have a Vi, we can try to Vi Ride the Wind.
Oh. Gust and Ride the Wind look so similar.
They do look very similar. He's played almost nothing this game.
Yeah.
Definitely another Defy as a possibility.
Something you got to worry about, especially with 2 mana up. And a Defy and an On Guard would both be able to be played in the same turn. Let's see. He's staring at his discard pile. Is it called discard pile in this game?
Trash.
Trash pile, my bad. Okay. Yeah, Defy is so scary in this position, especially if we have something to put in there. It does look like there's a unit, I feel like. Right there. The third card. Is it Vayne? No, maybe it's a Vi.
Could be a Vi.
Or it's a fight or flight, and I'm just crazy.
Or it could be a fight or flight. It could be Vayne. Vayne does see some play in the sideboard of these decks for sure. Could be a Kaisa.
It is Vayne.
Right, it's Vayne.
Vayne's an interesting one. She's 4, power 1, and she reads immediately as a 2, but just like the ADC she is in League of Legends, she comes in with Assault, and if your opponent has a battlefield controlled, then she enters ready. So she kind of reads like a I am ready 5 if your opponent has a battlefield.
Yeah, you can also return it to your hand when you conquer.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
So if you have a lot of excess runes, you can ready it more than once, keep sending it in. You can also protect it in ways that certain decks just can't interact super favorably with. Again, if you are, a little excess on runes, it has the ability to, you can cast it twice in a turn pretty easily. So
yeah, that's a great point. Looks like we're trying to decide if there's anything else we can do. We do have 3 runes up still, and we will have 5 when it goes to our opponent's turn. But Vayne's an interesting card in Annie for sure. My eyes are peeled for all the cards here.
I don't know if putting it back in your hand really makes a ton of sense.
It looks like we're gonna do it though. It's a 4 though, so we can't play it again this turn.
No, but you need to protect. Like, you just don't have anything. If they drew something like a Poro here, that makes more sense.
But even then, they could have had the Poro stay in the Dreaming Tree potentially.
You don't really need it in the Dreaming Tree. The problem is then Dead Bloom is a disaster.
Yeah, Dead Bloom, true.
They can just also Yi. And that's not great for you either. The Vayne, better on offense with the Salt. We have the ability, I think next turn we could maybe Vayne plus Annie Cleave if we really wanted to. That would be 8, which matches Yi, which doesn't seem amazing. But if they tap out for Yi, like, there's something to be said for that.
Yes, true. So we are doing 3, it looks like. Oh, no, 3/7. That's going to be Master Yi is my guess. And I mean, we can still take Dreaming Tree with Master Yi. Yep, we have Master Yi in the Dreaming Tree up to 6 points.
Up to 6. 6 is a scary number, especially again because this Poro is really hard to get out of Vilema's lair.
Yeah, very good point.
We just untap. All right. I think we're going to try and clear both of these battlefields this turn if I had to take a guess, which is not impossible. But it is certainly not easy either. 6 is a pretty scary spot.
Yeah, it's really dangerous. And even now, he's got to find a way to free up these 2 battlefields. If he can't free up both of them, John will win the game. If he frees up one of them, he can hold essentially for a turn. We do see that Vi come down.
The Vi ride the wind.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it's going to be. And we know that discard pile is kind of thick right now.
The disaster, of course, is if they have the Defy in this spot. You would think that they would have used it last turn to save the Kiana.
Potentially. We've seen at least one.
And knowing that they didn't save it last turn means that maybe they don't have it.
It's potential. But we do know, I mean, that's Defy, that's on guard. How many do we have to send back? It is an 8 Yi and a 5 Poro right now.
So let's imagine that it's on guard and not the counter spell. Which really is all we can pretend that it is. I think. Because you can't really play around another counter. We're probably going to lose to that. So we would want to make sure that we're at least an 11, which then plays around the on guard.
Okay, that's a good point. And so we need to send back at least an 11 playing on guard. 8 cards. 8. Yep. And I think we should have a couple left over for that, is my assumption. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Doesn't look like we have enough. However,
never mind.
We can grab the Cleave, play it on Vi. If we play Annie, grab Cleave.
But then we can't play Ride the Wind. Because Annie is 4.
Yep. Cleave is 1.
Oh, we already have Vi down. Never mind.
Yep.
My bad. I'm an idiot.
We can also have extra... I see. That would work. Just getting extra cards in there. One of the things that you can do is you can ride the wind to the Poro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, eat some of the cards,
Yeah.
ride the wind to the Poro, and then eat the ride the wind
Yeah, that's very true.
with the Vi. So it gives you a second opportunity actually to activate the ability once the combat is over. It's not like amazing, but Defy is a disaster here, of course. But again, I don't think that we have the luxury of playing around that in this spot.
Yeah, especially where we're at right now.
Okay, just decides to get rid of everything to keep the ride the wind, which I think makes sense as well. So this puts us up to 12. We go into the Poro first, which I think is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No effects. Takes it out. We go up to 4. Conquer over here. Go up, which makes sense.
Yep.
And then I would imagine that we just pass if we don't have any additional characters to develop. Though if we do have a flash, I wouldn't hate playing it here just to draw the extra card now so that Deadbloom can't just come in. Because we don't necessarily want them to be able to put the character directly in without us being able to interact with it.
Yeah, good point.
So you can move Vi with ganking.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing around on guard. But because Vi has ganking, with Ride the Wind, you ready it. So it is able to gank after the first combat is done. So very, very powerful combo.
Yeah, the Ride the Wind to ready and then ganking across is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Vi plus that is plenty. I don't know if he necessarily went all the way up to 12. It does look like we went up to 11, but we needed to get the Poro back in there because there were only 7.
There's only 7 cards, yeah. So we needed 8 to get us to 11.
Yes.
So we are gonna flash back the Vi.
Yep. So draws an extra card with Dreaming Tree, protects the Vi a little bit from the potential for Deadbloom because once it's already cast, we can't not let them get into the battlefield, right?
Yeah, and it kind of reads like I have something in my hand to stop you now, though,
Yeah.
because otherwise we're saying Tasty Fae Folk just loses the game.
We just pretend eggplants aren't real,
Eggplants aren't real.
right?
What do you mean? Do you think they're real?
It's
I've
not
never
real.
seen an eggplant
See,
in my life.
look at him. Look how cute he is with his little face.
He's adorable, honestly. But yeah, so we can have the 1 take the 7, but I'm thinking that Accelerate could be a huge problem unless we have something in our hand. So first we have Void Seeker.
Which we know that that's actually not at its best here. We do still draw the card either way.
Yeah, and we're going to use Unyielding Spirit.
So this is where the Unyielding Spirit ends up making that card not quite as good. Because it essentially gives them an additional counter spell. We do still draw the card because it only prevents the damage and ability. The spell and ability damage this turn. Decides to develop further with the Catalyst.
Interesting.
Plays
and Poro for 2.
the Poro. So the Poro is a bit rough for us here. Now we have to assume that we're going to need to juice our Vi a little bit to get into the Dreaming Tree here.
Yeah, 3 versus 4. They can't win this way. As in, Dizzee can't win this turn either way, but we'll have to see what happens. We can give the Vi 3. So we only need, 2 to be able to... No, I guess we need all 3 to be able to... Because it's Vi's a 2 or a 3, actually, at base.
Vi is a 3 at base.
Okay, so we would only need 2 to be able to beat the Pierogi and take Dreaming Tree. But...
Hopefully we don't Annie and get back the Void Seeker and walk into
the second Unyielding
the second
Spirit.
one.
Yeah, that would be really dangerous. But as you mentioned, Annie is an option, and it could pull out a flash. It could pull out this Void Seeker sitting on the top of his discard pile.
Also Ride the Wind as well.
And the Ride the Wind, great point. So we'll have to see here, but...
The fact that they didn't, that John did not Tasty Fae Folk means they probably don't have something with Accelerate.
Yeah, agreed.
Not a guarantee, but they probably don't have something with Accelerate.
Yeah, I would even actually be as willing to go as far as saying like the Catalyst of Aeons kind of makes me think they don't have anything big in their hand
Like it
almost.
might just be another Catalyst in hand, and they're just trying to get to the point where they can draw with it.
Because they had 8 runes. Of course, playing Dead Bloom to the base does not ever feel good, but like developing your board past the 2 and all you need to do is hold for 1 turn at this point.
Yeah, I think if you have the resources for it, you certainly just, instead of Catalysting, you just play an 8/8 or an 8 might, right?
And you could play it up to the battlefield just to hold potentially.
You could, yeah.
Not saying it's the best play, but there's. It makes me wonder what's in his hand, and it feels like it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, if it is, with these ramp decks, if you do end up with the double Catalyst in hand pretty late, it can be a little awkward.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting he left him in. Assuming that they're on his main deck.
I mean, there's only so many cards that you can cut too, and sometimes the way that your draw is like, your hand is Tasty Fey Folk and Dead Bloom, and you need to be able to get to actually playing those, but also not be super punished for casting one either.
Yeah.
They all, especially if you Accelerate Fey Folk, they all sort of, have 2 power cost, and that is one of the few ways that you can sort of keep up with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so stack deck's coming down for our first rune on Dizzee's side. Gonna hopefully help us find a card that will be good here. I see a second Vi for sure.
And a Kaisa.
And that alt art Kaisa that you mentioned, I'm pretty sure as well. I can't see the third one though, but it does look like he's deciding between Vi and Kaisa.
A pretty big decision here. I don't necessarily know if we need a second Vi, only because we don't have that many cards in the trash anymore.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, Vi is just, I don't like, it obviously can get big enough for Pit Rookie, but doesn't feel like he can get big enough to finish off this game here in long term. We do have a lot of runes right now for Annie. And by a lot, I mean in the context that it is Annie.
Yeah.
8 is a lot for her, I feel like.
It can be, if you play a lot of the cards that have power costs associated with them, you're naturally going to be going through quite a few of your runes, and especially with Annie untapping, you're going to do it on your turn and their turn. So there are certainly some Annie lists that play even lower than this pretty frequently.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want ever to be able to like double Darius in a turn, or play Darius Vi, Ride the Wind, do 2 large things in a turn to be able to sort of push through the last bit of points.
They'll need more, for sure.
You sometimes need to do a little bit more. And the way that this game sort of shaped up, we haven't had to expend power the last couple turns.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because we already had the Vi in play. Like, we already did the Vi Ride the Wind.
Very good point. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure we're going to see it, but just as I mentioned, that when you do double Darius in 1 turn, it feels illegal.
It's
the fact
crazy,
that they ready each other is hilarious. Because Darius can count as the second card. And it's kind of crazy, but let's see what they decide off the stack deck. We are thinking a lot about it. Top Cut is untimed, is my understanding. So they are allowed to figure out what they need to do here. Oh, no.
Realizing he's maybe a little bit short, still trying to decide what to pick here. Ride the Wind doesn't exactly save what we're trying to do in this spot, because we can't deal with the Poro. Like, there's a world where we can Ride the Wind and go up to like 6's turn to hold. So we did take the Kaisa, which I think makes sense.
And we decide Accelerator for 5.
Which also makes sense to me. And then I think you go there and draw a card first.
Yep, that looks like what he does. I didn't see the exact card he grabbed, but technically, shouldn't we have Vayne in hand still?
It's possible it was discarded earlier to
Ah, yeah.
one of the like traveling merchant or something. I would think that he was in hand, but
It was this game though, right? Or am
I
crazy?
think so. Yeah.
Okay. So those are the 4 cards in discard.
I think if you consume them all, you go up to 7.
She's enough to knock out the Pit Rookie at
Yeah.
base. It is enough also to deal with 1 discipline,
1 discipline.
1 on guard.
With Vi, the interesting thought is that you have to do these before you go into combat, because once you're in the showdown, you no longer have an opportunity to use the ability.
Exactly. So he did send all back, which does put it on 7, and the Pit Rookie gets killed.
Okay. So this is a spot where Deadbloom is pretty scary still. I don't think that we have Flash. We'll see what John actually has here.
Yeah, John does have to take out both sides now, because if Dizzee holds just on one side, we're going to 8 points, and that's going to be game.
Yeah, he could win in this spot too by taking over one of the battlefields and then just dead blooming the other one.
Yeah, that is a potential.
So if we have fight or flight, I think we have to use it now. If we have something like, say, Ride the Wind, we could move Kaisa over to defend.
Great point.
I do not like just letting that happen.
Oof. But maybe we're
they may not have another option, you know.
Yeah, it's very true. And it looks like we hit that Dead Bloom. He does have Rebuke here, though.
Rebuke is a good answer.
He's rebuking, or trying to rebuke at least. Do we have Wind Wall? Nope. The Dead Bloom goes back to hand. And what can we do with the last 3? I mean, maybe you could charm Kaisa over right now is one answer. Because you're a 5 as this Poro. It's a 4. And that's
That'll do
game.
it.
And he wins it. And he's very happy about it.
Yeah.
We're so back. And he's so back.
Charm, I think Charm would have had an opportunity to have the Poro take out the Kaisa, but it looks like he didn't have it.
Yeah, great game by Dizzee. He kept his head even in a really stressful moment.
Yeah.
And he was able to take the win. So fantastic job by him.
Yeah, Rebuke, an incredibly powerful card out of the sideboard for Annie. Sometimes it makes its way into the main a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit more cognizant of your runes when you're playing it, because obviously the double chaos cost is very high. But a card like that, or I've also occasionally seen the Zonite Bouncer with a similar, literally the same effect, but this one's a unit.
Oh, very interesting.
Can't be windwalled.
Okay. So it's like the Riptide Rex of hand bouncing.
Yeah, so it is a similar effect, but it plays around a little bit more of the counter spells. But a mix of the two I think is really nice. The first Rebuke is incredibly nice because, again, you have Annie, you can get it back. So having the 1 copy, especially with the stack decks, like you see these Annie decks, they can rip through their whole deck. You can see all 40 cards every game.
It feels like it some of these games. But yeah, Annie's like just one of those cards, especially with Traveling Merchant. You see that Zon's in the deck. Obviously, they have a lot of. I think we also saw Dreaming Tree with Annie. Like they have a lot of draw.
Yeah.
There's so many cards they get to go through between stack deck, Kaisa, so forth, and they really get to use that with the Vi and put it back in their deck.
Yeah, the recycle. You know, a lot of these decks that dig really deep through their deck don't always have the ability to recycle. You know, Kaisa can go through a lot of cards.
For sure.
Once. You know, it's sort of a one-directional thing, because Vi is not at its best in a deck like that because it's a little slow. It's slow and predictable. You know, you're able to get in once and then that's it.
Yeah.
But the ganking, when it's good, is great, right? And with Ride the Wind, you know, it plays the Vi plays like Mundo. It's just this massive, you know, oh, here's how big my trash is. This is how big I got for a character to just bully everything that you've got in your battlefield. And then you're just like, okay, now I do it again with the same amount that I already used. Going from 6 to 8 with the Vi combo is like comically easy. If they don't have a hard answer to it, and there's not that many answers to it either, because you're doing it all at base. So a lot of a lot of the better removal and things that can interact with it that are damage based are all actions.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. There's really, once she's set up, it does feel like that. She's like a little temporary Mundo.
Yeah.
It works for a little bit. Your discard pile is now gone. But it just does so much. I remember the first time I played against an Annie list. I think I was like on Arya or something like that. I just never had the pieces I needed. It was like I would try to charm someone up. They would just ride the wind over. Take like it was like I think 5th point. They go to 6th point. No, it was like opposite. Sorry, 6 goes to 7th, and then they would just ride the wind back
And then,
and kill me.
It's over. Yeah.
It's over. And there's just so many ways you can use that, like ride the wind. If there's like an open battlefield,
Gaining points on their turn,
exactly,
like, unreasonable. Becoming an attacker instead of a defender by going to the other battlefield, so you can cleave.
Yeah,
and taking a point on their turn that they thought was safe, like taking a battlefield and then like untapping and you hold point too. It's such a huge swing, and it keeps your unit alive too. And that's it. Just everything about it, like very, very good for the Annie player moving into the top 4 here.
Awesome. Yeah, and with that, let's go chat with the Annie to find out exactly how they were able to do it.
All right, guys, and I'm joined here with the winner, Annie, making it to a top 4. There's been a lot of Annies at the top tables. The last one standing. How's it feel?
Wow, being the last one standing, it's an exhilarating feeling. Like, I've actually never been in top 4 of any major before, so this is just incredible. I got to give a shout out to my wife and my son for supporting me in the hobby. I mean, sold out. He basically innovated the deck, and I've been reading his content, his guide, and he really kind of helped me get to the point where I am mechanically and just as far as knowledge goes. The deck is so fun, but the lines, like, it makes your brain explode. I put hundreds of hours probably into the game, at least probably 50 on Annie. So I've really been going all in on this. So
awesome, man. Yeah. So how'd you get into Riftbound? Did you play League of Legends before? Other card games? What brought you here?
So I played League since like season 3.
Okay.
I am not good at the game still. I think I've peaked in plat. I'm a mid and ADC main. Looking forward to Irelia. That's like one of my favorite characters. I got into Riftbound because I love Riot's IP. I think it's like the best. I used to be a big Blizzard fan, and I'm much more of a Riot Games fan now.
Right.
I play Legends of Runeterra a lot. The last game I played was Battle Spirit Saga, which crashed. So I haven't gone to a major like this in a few years. So, yeah.
Fair enough. And are you local here to Atlanta? Drive out here? How'd it go?
I am not local. I'm actually from Palm Beach in Florida. I flew from Florida to here, and Atlanta's a cool city. I like it a lot here.
That's awesome. All right. And so what would be your hottest Riftbound take?
My hottest Riftbound take. Kai'Sa is not tier 0. That's my hottest Riftbound take. I think that Yi and Kai'Sa are both on equal standing, and I actually think Annie, played in the right hands, is tier 1, maybe tier 1.5. I love the deck. I think it's amazing.
Okay, great. And then for this top 4, are you afraid of the set player? Who's the matchup that you want to avoid the least to be able to at least get to that finals?
What are the top 4? Set and 2 Kai'Sas, or?
I believe so.
I'm not sure about the set. The list is kind of interesting. I did see he's playing 3 Arena Bar. He's playing a very hold heavy deck, and I'm not sure if I could outpace him. So I do want to avoid the set player. I have a lot of reps into Kai'Sa, and I feel pretty comfortable in that Kai'Sa matchup. Contradictory, I think that it's not a favorite matchup for Kai'Sa at all. I think it's pretty even. That's my take on that. I probably want to avoid the set. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, and then I know you gave a shout out to your wife, but any other shout outs you want to give before we send it off?
Absolutely. All my friends, Waffle, Nick, St. Clair, Angel, all the Kingslayer guys are pretty cool. I've been hanging out with them while I'm here. My buddy Zach, just all my playtesting crew. Thank you guys so much for helping me get to where I am. My friends, my family, thank God. I'm just very blessed to be here and to come this far. And shout out to Charlie's. Really cool place, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, with that, we'll send it off, and thanks.
Thank you very much.
Wow, what a great interview. And so much excitement to be here, so much excitement to be in top 4. And Annie, a set, 2 Kaisas. I mean, maybe we expected the Kaisas, but I think that's an awesome spread today.
It's not too bad. We had almost as much representation of Annie, at least at the X2 in general, because a couple of them missed. I mean, that's 4 Annies within striking distance of actually being in the cut.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a deck that really, especially in, the Chinese metagame, didn't get a great time to shine. I mean, there was a few Annies here or there, but it was kind of unexplored.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see, how it continues to grow, because I would love to see Annie and Set do well, and maybe we will see them more in Houston.
Hopefully. And, the early tournaments sort of this weekend between this and the Star City event that's going on as well, I think that there's one in Europe too, are really going to dictate a little bit of how the early metagame might shift around for Houston. We may see new tech. We might see a bunch of this set list that is maybe iterated on even further to, fight how people are going to be adapting to that sort of deck. And it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting for sure. With that, I think we are going to be going on the BRB screen, and we'll be seeing you guys soon for our top 4.